You know how when you have a chronic illness, emphasis on chronic, like you have to live with it, right? When you have a chronic illness, you kind of maybe look around you and see how your peers are maybe making their dreams come true and living life, and you're kind of stuck with this situation, and this is probably not the life that you thought you would have, and it brings you pain and symptoms and flare-ups and crises, and you're like, I had dreams as well. So yeah, it's easy to fall into this kind of victim mentality in which you're like, why me? Why is everybody having a good time? And I'm over here in bed, unable to move freely, feeling like crap. So there's a lot to deal with emotionally and mentally, on top of all the physical stuff that comes with your chronic illness. I just want to tell you, first and foremost, you're not a victim. You're not a victim. I'm not a victim. We're not victims. This is just the life that we got. It's still a life. It's maybe not the life that we dreamed of, but we're still alive. So the first thing is just acceptance, right? And let me tell you something. Acceptance is not being okay with things. Acceptance is not wanting more or wanting to welcome more of the same thing. That's not what acceptance means. Acceptance is choosing not to add more layers of suffering and pain to what you're already experiencing. Like, it's already pretty difficult to have a chronic illness. It's enough, right? We don't need to add our mental perceptions, our stress. We don't need to add like getting frustrated and angry and like hurt, like why is this happening to me? Like, this is all just making it worse, and you know that it's just making it worse. So make your peace with it, whatever it is, whatever your situation is, whatever your chronic illness is, whatever limitations you have. Make your peace with it. Just acknowledge that this is the reality that you are facing. This is what's happening. This is the body that I have. This body has this illness or this group of illnesses. Okay, this is what we're working with. It is what it is. Because when you resist things, and resistance is when you start comparing yourself and being like, why me? And I don't like this, and this hurts, and I don't deserve this, and why again? Why can't I get better? Like, all of those thoughts are you resisting what is happening. And resistance hurts. Resistance is what makes things hurt more than they would if you just let them be. Whenever something hurts, even like when it's cold, if you're like, oh, it's so cold. If you're like that and like fixating on how cold and uncomfortable you are, what happens? You cannot stop thinking about the cold. It makes you more uncomfortable. You have a worse time than if you would just actually like, yeah, I'm cold. And you try to calm down, and you try to like save your energy, and you try to just, okay, so I'm cold. Can I do anything about it? No? Then I'll just save my energy. Like, why waste it if I'm already struggling, you know? If you're already struggling, don't make it worse. Another thing that we need to accept is all that uncertainty and fear of what might come tomorrow. Are we really getting better or maybe not? We can't really run away from that possibility because we don't really know. We don't really know what's going to happen. We don't know if we're going to get better or if the opposite is going to happen. We don't know. Anything could happen. And it's also important to accept that we don't have certainty, that we don't have any guarantees that if we do everything in our power to be okay, that we will be okay. That's a tough pill to swallow, and I know you're swallowing a lot of pills, but it's important. Just you can do this. You can acknowledge that there's uncertainty, and yet you still have the present moment. And the best thing you can do right now is just to accept, stay present, accept what is, stop fighting it, take it in. And another thing that's important with acceptance is that you might think you have it bad, but it could always be worse, so much worse. So be grateful that you're still alive, because as long as you're still alive, there's still life, and that's plenty to be grateful for. I don't know if this was at all helpful, but it's a first step. It all starts with acceptance. So, I hope you have a nice day. Take care. And let's all do our best with what we have. Okay?